You know, guys, one of the most secretive projects that's coming out of Hollywood right now in regards to comic books, I would argue, is the Batman, right? The Batman. Matt Reeves, the Batman, is probably, I mean, even Phase 5 Marvel stuff doesn't compare to what Matt Reeves is doing with the Batman, how Robert Pattinson is going to be in the role of Bruce Wayne and the Dark Knight, and everything else around it is going to be insane. But one of the stories popping out today, and this is interesting, and this makes a lot of sense considering that where Warner's is with the DCU, is that apparently Batgirl will reportedly tie in directly with the Batman. And they've been wanting to do Batgirl for a while. I mean, obviously with the CW having Batwoman coming out, I think next week or this week or something, clearly that is something that's on the horizon. They do want to play up that particular angle. But here's what the article says. In case Batgirl fans were doubtful over whether a feature film starring their beloved hero would be arriving anytime soon, a new article by Forbes looks to reveal numerous things about Warner's much anticipated and upcoming The Batman. Most interesting for Batgirl fans is that her new movie will reportedly tie in directly with The Batman. Exactly how Batgirl will become a part of the film or to what degree is currently unknown, but even this tiny reveal is a big thing for fans. And he's not wrong, it is. You know, they've tried to get this thing going a couple of years ago, right? When Joss Whedon was brought in to be a fixer on Justice League, there was the Batgirl. He was given the Batgirl, and then he exited the project because he kind of went like, well, I can't quite crack the story. Funny thing is, Affleck used very similar language when talking about the Batman. Couldn't quite crack the story. What does that mean? There are innumerable Batman and Batgirl stories. Pick one. Throw a damn dart. That's all you got to do. But unfortunately, they couldn't crack it. And in the case of Joss Whedon, I don't quite care. You know, I mean, I like the guy well enough for his filmmaking prowess, but at the same time, Justice League was kind of bunk. And that's not his fault. It's totally different from Zack Snyder, and it's really a Warner Brothers thing. I do enjoy the first two Avengers, but him personally, he's kind of a dick. But Affleck, I really want to see what he was going to do with it, because I like Batfleck quite a bit. And unfortunately, no, that's just not the way the cookie crumbles. Anyway, this is what it says here. So far, what is known about Matt Reeves' The Batman is that it intends to pack quite a punch. Rumored to be an adaptation of the long Halloween storyline, The Batman looks to introduce a vast array of characters into its plot, some of which are villains, some of which are heroes. In this respect, there's an ample opportunity for Batgirl to find a place, allowing for that film story to perhaps take shape in one of the Batman's subplots. And with the names that are currently being offered up as potential cast members for the Batman, such as Jonah Hill and Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, by the way, which is super weird. There's likely to be a star-studded cast in the works. Exactly who will play the Batgirl remains a mystery as well, but so far the promise of something truly spectacular being delivered seems to be growing with each passing day. And you know what? That's true. Here's another thing too. That article, and maybe Screen Rant saved it because they wanted to run their own article with it, but this is another revelation from that one. This Batman movie will start a trilogy, which makes sense for the introduction of Batgirl. Now we know, well, this is what it says. It says here that Forbes writes, Reeves is taking his time on the project to ensure he gets it right and builds the foundation for a new Batman series that delivers a fully realized Bat world capable of sustaining itself for many movies going forward. At this point, Reeves will be making a trilogy of films, but there will be an opportunity for the world he creates to continue, be it with Reeves still at the helm or someone else taking time in the director's chair. And that is fascinating. Now, what it appears to me is, and this might get me a little bit of flack from some of you DC fans out there, is Reeves is potentially doing the right thing here. And what I mean by that is he's taking the time and he's actually building the world that Batman will play in, Batman will live in, Batman will reside in, that we, the audience, will be going to with these films. Very similar to what I think Tim Burton was attempting to do with the Batman Returns, is give us more of a fleshed out Gotham with its villains and everything else and how Batman handles it. Unfortunately, the DCEU, in their rampant attempt to take on Marvel in a way that didn't quite work out the way they wanted it to, we got this movie. Now, this movie had the potential, in my opinion, to be grand, and I think Snyder's original vision would have potentially done that. I am a release of Snyder Cut stan. I am a big fan of the Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, or the Extended Edition, whatever you want to call it. The True Edition is how I refer to it, and I definitely would love to see Warner Brothers release this movie at some point in time. But there's no point in arguing that the film itself wasn't necessarily a failure. It was on many levels. It's not unwatchable. It's also just not great. And so if Matt Reeves is going to take Batman and bring him back, 20 odd years or whatever, to when he's a lot younger, maybe just, maybe 15, 20 odd years, whatever. It gives us time to build into what this could potentially be. Now, again, this all boils down to money. If the Joker does well, then they might find a way to tie it into the larger DCEU. It could tie into the Batman. If they're doing a reboot of the DCEU entirely, which I don't know if they're going to, it's kind of dumb to think that, I think at this point, they could find a way to then, merge it all together via Flashpoint or something. I don't know. I think Flashpoint, a lot of people bring up Flashpoint, and Flashpoint to me kind of comes across as one of those arguments where it's like, really? Is this what you want to do? Okay. You guys really want, I wish I could be a fly on the wall inside of what the hell DC is up to. Because if I was a fly on the wall in what the hell they were doing, perhaps we'd have a better understanding of their whole plan. But what it appears is that the DCU as we know it is kind of dead. And that pains me to say, because I really like it. I do. I really enjoy it. Shazam, Aquaman, I love those. I can't wait for Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah, those exist in a certain continuity. But instead of going back with the Batman series, similar to Captain Marvel in regards to the MCU, and telling a story that was, set 15, 20 years prior, or I think 25 years prior, and then it kind of expanding upon plot lines or threads or references or Easter eggs or whatever. Again, they're kind of afraid of their own shadow. And so they're going back to the drawing board. But Matt Reeves is a competent filmmaker who wants to give the fans what he feels they deserve in regards to a good Batman movie or good Batman series of films. And at the end of the day, when it comes to merchandising, which pops up quite often, the number one seller still is Batman. The number two is Harley Quinn. So that's exactly kind of what we're seeing right now is all of these things that are all pointing to Batman as being the future of the DCEU, and that's going to set the tone for whatever comes next. Good or bad, in my opinion, and we'll have to wait and see. But then again, anything could happen. Anything could change. I would just love to see a sequel to this. I'd love to see these guys come back. I'd love to see a part 2 to give us the conclusion with Darkseid. But I don't think we will. And really the big losers here are the fans. The fans who put faith and trust into DC, who couldn't be trusted to find themselves out of a plastic bag, unfortunately. But at least now it appears that they're bringing in some good filmmakers and giving them the freedom to create. And at the end of the day, that's all we as fans can ask for. Solid stories presented to us by actual fans and not entirely designed by a committee of people who just see dollar signs and not actual competent storytelling. Anyway, your guys' thoughts, your guys' opinions on this one, let me know down in the comments below. I am very curious to know your guys' thoughts. I will talk to you all later. Please type the Batman in the chat if you made it this far, and leave a like while you're at it. And let's try to get to 200 likes. I think we can do it. And have a good one, guys, and peace out.